And now it's time for more of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's Talk Hookup. This portion of the show is sponsored in part by Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup. Rancho Leonero, where your wildest Baja dreams come true. Maui Jim Sunglasses, the choice of the best captains. Shimano Rods and Reels, fish with the best. Shimano. And by Yamaha Outboards, official motor sponsor of Let's Talk Hookup. Here we go. Another great hour of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's Talk Hookup. Here's Pete Gray and rock cod Rick Maxa.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Let's Talk Hookup coming your way here on the Mighty 1090. Having lots of fun. Frank LoPreste, Kathy in the studio. We're talking all kinds of fishing. We're talking fun and having a great time doing it. And, man, this show has got me so fired up right now to go fishing. It's just crazy. Lots to talk about, lots of great catch reports, and a lot of your phone calls. If you want to get through, it has been a very busy morning. But for the first time, literally all show, we have a phone line open right now. It's one of our toll-free numbers. It's 877-792-1090. Again, 877-792-1090. It's open right now. It's your shot to get through, talk to Kathy, talk to Frank, and join in on all this great fun. And not only get a chance to join in the fun, we are giving away a really cool prize at the end of the show today, and that's a brand new pair of Maui Jim sunglasses. Again, it's the longboard frame in the matte black colors, a very, very nice fisherman-friendly frame. It has those great Maui Jim neutral gray lenses. The lens material is that new Maui Evolution, too, which is a very, very lightweight lens. It's a great pair of glasses, and we really appreciate Maui Jim for allowing us to get to give away one of these great pairs of glasses. And Frank, I know that time has been really busy on the boat, and I know that with this great fishing, there's not a lot of opportunities, but any chance that we can get in on some of this fishing that's going on, coming up, upcoming trips, things like that we might not be aware of?
Well, right now on the Royal Polaris, we did have 2 cancellations on the Davis boat trip, and I don't know if you know Harold Davis, but
that's a great...
I know you do know him.
Yeah.
He really puts together some great giveaways, rods and all kinds of tackle giveaways, but it's just a great trip. Well, most likely we could fish that tuna down off Lusitania, but more than likely go to Hurricane Bank also, maybe Clarion. But there are 2 openings on that trip. There's also a few openings, like 4 openings on the Thanksgiving trip, if you care to spend Thanksgiving on the Royal Polaris.
Yeah. And
Jonathan Yamati runs that trip. So, and I'll be running the Davis trip. So, anyhow, those are our openings there. Shogun, I would like to mention that we've scheduled some day-and-a-half trips. I might change them to 2.5-day trips. So right now they're day-and-a-half trips in the first couple of weeks of November to Cortez Bank.
Okay.
Okay.
Get on that good late-season tuna?
Yeah, absolutely. Tuna and yellowtail.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what we got in the way of openings.
I just want to throw one thing out there on that Davis trip that, like you say, great giveaways, great time of year, all those things. The group that goes on that trip every year, I don't know because I've never been on the boat, but I get to interact with them at the landing forehand. I don't think that there could be a more fun batch of people to get to fish with.
Great
they are so much fun. That's one of my favorite trips.
Yeah, that's right. You do
I've
that
been
trip
doing
every
it
year,
for
right?
years and years, yeah. And they are just a great group of people to be with. They're fun.
Mellow,
There's
great
not a
people.
sour one in the bunch. You just a great group to be with for that time.
Very like family atmosphere, fun people, and I know that with Harold as a ringleader, that's
if nothing else, you got Roy, and Roy will make you laugh.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, that's a lot of fun. And again, if somebody wants to do those trips, do they call your office? Should they call Fisherman's Landing? Go right to the website?
They can do it online.
Okay.
They can call our office. We've started closing on Sundays now, but call tomorrow morning, or you can go online and book that trip.
Awesome. Okay. I'm with you. That's a great time. Well, hey, the phone lines are packed. I know everybody's excited to talk to Kathy, talk to Frank. Let's jump right back into the phones. We're going to start this one off with Tom calling us from San Diego. Good morning, Tom. Welcome to the show.
Well, good morning. I love it when Kathy and that older fisherman are on.
Thank you.
Anyhow, my question, Kathy, and also for Frank, of course, is when you're out there and the fish are finicky, as the notorious bluefin can be, and they're, in the vernacular, mouthing the bait, what can you do to try to increase your chances of hooking up?
Patience. Just be really patient. Don't get frustrated. Yeah, you just gotta stay in the water.
I think the long soak is important on the bluefin. It's that's a hard thing for me to do, but the long soak is very important. I think the other thing that, Kathy's not a believer of fluorocarbon,
but come up.
fluorocarbon is an absolute must as far as I'm concerned, fishing bluefin. And, hook size can make a difference, that's for sure. The other thing that I like to recommend is hooking that bait in the nape of the neck rather than under the belly. So those are the things
great tips.
Those are the things that I would do to increase my chances. And if I wasn't getting bit and other people were getting bit, I'd probably put my rod down, go have a beer, and think about how lucky I am to be out here, and then cast a bait again, and that probably improves your chances also.
All good. I would say bluefin too for me is one of the few. I'm a J-hook guy a lot of the time. I like just a regular old Gamakatsu J-hook, a regular 2-0 is what I fish more than anything else.
I agree.
Bluefin is one of the fish where I often will on purpose put a circle hook on.
Yeah. Gotta go Mutu.
They got that, they got teeth, and we talk about all the time, they're so notorious at the end of the fight. They just don't circle like a normal one. They get straight up and down. You watch them. You see it in your rod.
Watch his head. It just goes back and forth like, okay, we're going to saw you off right now. Here you go.
Okay,
watch this.
Yeah, you're tired. You pulled on me for the last 20 minutes. Here you go. I'm about to cut you off right there. I love that. Yeah, a good, Nautilus circle hook, a good hook in the corner. Tom, appreciate the phone call. I hope that bluefin doesn't elude you and you get that sucker. Jump right back into the phones. How about Mike in Redondo? Hi, Mike. Welcome to the show.
Oh, good morning, all.
Hi, Mike.
I've got a question for Kathy. About 6 months or so ago, when you guys were on, you were talking about some seasick medicine that wasn't quite get you so droggy and all. I've got 15-year-old great-granddaughter that has that problem, and I was wondering if you could repeat what you were talking about at that time, if you remember, please.
Yeah, it's called Sturgeon Forte, Stugeron, and then Forte. The drug name that you get it from your doctor is Cinerzine, Cinnerzine, and it works for about 90% of the people. 10% of the people it doesn't have any effect on at all. 90% of the people you take it, and even after you're sick, 15, 20 minutes and you're not seasick anymore. It's just a miracle. Yeah. For me, I don't usually get sick, but if I get out there and something's going on and I all of a sudden start feeling queasy, bam, it's gone.
And all the disclaimer stuff, it's you should always check with your doctor
you have to, because you have to get a prescription. Yeah.
And like you said, it doesn't work for every person, but you personally have had awesome success and watched it work great for a lot of other people as well.
Yep. A lot of people that are just they're out there for days on end and they're like, what am I going to do? And they're it's never good to be seasick.
It's nice that, and I think with anything, too, consult your doctor and just see what he thinks for you, Mike, but how nice is it that you can have something in a pill form that you can take, just like you said, Kathy, that not everybody gets sick all the time, and you might not want to be medicating yourself as a preventative. This is something that you have experienced and seen work as a cure rather than a preventative thing.
Yeah. So you don't have to, like the patch or something you would have to wear all the time, and you don't know if you're going to get sick or not. You got all these chemicals going in your body, and this is just a way that you can do it without always being on chemical.
Awesome. Great info. Does that answer your question for you, Mike?
Yeah, that sounds really great. Also, one quick one.
Sure.
If I get the prescription and take it to Mexico, I can get it filled there also?
Yes.
Oh, great.
And that's been an easy
way
to get it.
Much.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, great call, Mike. Appreciate the phone call. Hope you have a great time with your granddaughter there. Have an awesome trip. How about we jump right back into the phones and talk to Don, calling us from Woodland Hills. Don, we got you back there?
You got me back.
Hey, good morning, buddy.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for taking my call. Hey, Frank, first of all, thank you very much for all the tips on bluefin. I've had the best bluefin year ever, and I give a lot of credit for that to all the tips I got from you over the past year and a half. So thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm glad you've had a great year.
Yep. And my question for you is, a bunch of buddies and I are starting to plan next year's long-range trip. They've never done anything longer than a couple of days. So what kind of fish would we see, say, October, November, typical year on a 7 versus a 10-day trip?
Well, the biggest difference between a 7 that time of year and a 10-year in October and November is that it gives you time to get to all the spots. I highly recommend October, November, a 10-day and not a 7-day. You could go to Aleos and catch good fish. Like right now, you'd catch good wahoo. but there's not much else. Maybe a few grouper or maybe a handful of big yellowtail. And then you've got to go into the beach to look for pargo, to look for dorado, to look for more wahoo, to look for yellowtail, to look for school-sized tuna. And then you might want to go down below Mag Bay to fish for 100 to 150-pound tuna. So, the thing about it is, if you're on a 7-day, you're going to lose real close to 3.5 days of travel, okay? So that only leaves you 3.5 days of actual fishing time. Well, if you go on a 10-day trip, the travel time's about the same because you're going to do some traveling at night. So you take the 3.5 days, now you have 6.5 days of fishing. So
good point.
It's a better value for you. And, fish don't bite every day at any place. So sometimes you need that extra day, you need an extra move, and quite often you do. So and the other thing about it is some people quite often say, well, God, I don't know if I can stay on a boat that long. I swear, I'm not just giving you advertising or BS here. Most people just say they can't believe how fast the time has gone. So that's my advice.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Don, appreciate the phone call very much. Good luck with whatever trip you pick. How about next up we talk to Ed. He's calling us from Mira Mesa this morning. Hi, Ed. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, good morning, guys. I have a couple questions. First, on these wahoo, are they using a wire leader on the Marauders? And I wouldn't think it would be breaking with that. I don't know. And my second one is, in June, the Shogun has a few 3-day trips. And I was wondering, what can I expect to catch in that 3-day? Just yellowtail?
Well, just yellowtail. Well, on a 3-day trip in June, very good chance for bluefin. I believe it was last year, Aaron on the Shogun, who does a sensational job, had 200 and some bluefin on a 3-day trip in late May. And it wasn't 20-pounders. It was all 40 to 50s. So June, yes, yellowtail and bluefin. Okay?
And how about the wiring up a Marauder?
Wiring up a Marauder. Well, if you want to lose your Marauder in a hurry, just don't put wire on it. I guarantee you'll lose it real fast. And what happened with Booger, you might be referring to that. How did they lose their Marauder? Well, the line broke. And I think it broke because they use those trolling outfits for catching tuna and everything else. And when they get in tangles, you get a fray or something like that. So that's why Booger ended up spending $200. He had to put new line on some new reels and stuff like that, and make those just wahoo outfits, not tuna and wahoo outfits. And that's how that happened. He did have them wired up properly. Taro, who is a crew member on the San Diego, used to work long range, and he knows how to do all of that correctly.
We typically wire our Marauders at the shop or make harnesses with 275-pound wire. Right. Would you say that's about the right size?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And 275 is perfect.
About 3.5 feet long, something like that?
3 to 3.5 feet.
Okay, cool.
Perfect.
You all ready to go, Ed?
Yeah, you bet.
Okay, buddy. Appreciate the phone call very much. You got it. That does free up for the first time all morning, 858-457-1090. If you've been trying to get through on a local line, it's your first shot. 858-457-1090. Let's talk to Matt. He's calling us from La Mesa this morning. Hi, Matt. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Frank. Good morning, Kathy.
Good morning.
I had a question. Have you ever fished waxwing jigs for wahoo, and do you have to crank them as fast as, say, a raider jig because of their zigzag pattern?
Absolutely not. It's just like fishing a surface iron. When you fish a surface iron for wahoo, you do not do a fast wind. You get some unbelievable bites. So sometimes when you do that, they come all the way out of the water and try to bite it on the way down. But the waxwing, I have seen it used. It is fairly successful, not highly successful on the wahoo. But you would do the same wind you do for yellowtail, a medium slow wind.
I always say the coolest fishing in the world is surface iron yellowtail fishing, but I don't think that's true. The only thing that surface iron yellowtail could take a backseat to is surface iron wahoo fishing.
Yeah.
That's it.
But you aren't going to get very many.
Yeah, right. No,
you aren't going to get very many. It's just the action of the bite, because 5 out of 6 you're going to not hook.
You'll have no voice left over, though. I can tell you that much. If you're like me, you will be screaming, "Oh, did you say that?" You know, it's just... That's it. That is the coolest, and the bite is so ooh, they just,
it's amazing.
They get it. It is so much fun, Matt.
Well, I'm leaving in 6 days. I think it's with Gerby on the Star, so I can't wait.
Well, you should have a great trip, that's for sure.
Good luck on your trip, Matt. Appreciate it very much. Thanks a lot for the call. Hey, when we come back, we got a lot of Let's Talk Hookup still to go. More of your phone calls, more great information just like that. You stay tuned. It's Frank and Kathy on Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090.
Doing business with the right company always pays off, and JobSite Supply is that kind of company, selling commercial contractor supplies since 1987. JobSite Supply specializes in the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing trades with lines like Unistrut, the original metal framing system featuring the unique webless connection. Unistrut metal framing is the time and money-saving alternative to conventional support methods. Come see the largest supply of Unistrut at JobSite Supply. Check JobSiteSupplyCo.com for more details.
The Sport Fishing Association of California is taking a leadership role to broaden the fishing opportunities for Southern California anglers. And Saturday, October 3rd, Pete Gray will be traveling to Ensenada, Mexico with the president of SAC, Captain Ken Frankie, and his staff to host a very important live broadcast from Hotel Corral and Resort in Ensenada. The broadcast will feature some key personnel from Mexico Fisheries and help strengthen the ties with the sport fishing fleet in Southern California and Mexico. They will also discuss the great fishing opportunities available in Ensenada. SAC's mission is to promote tourism through marine recreation and educational activities while protecting ocean resources. By working together with Mexico, we can show our care for the resources both at home and across the border, and our desire to take an active role to help protect the future of our fisheries. So mark your calendar for Saturday, October 3rd, a very special live broadcast from Ensenada, Mexico, with the Sport Fishing Association of California. Check CaliforniaSportFishing.org for more information.
It's time to get excited about fishing, and Point Loma Sport Fishing has everything you'll need. They offer half-day and three-quarter-day trips daily, perfect for families and the novice or seasoned fishermen. Point Loma Sport Fishing also offers overnight to multi-day trips, targeting the best of seasonal catches. Visit their website at pointlomasportfishing.com, where you can purchase tickets online and get more information on the trips available, or call 619-223-1627.
If you are ready to experience a real Alaska fishing adventure, check out Whalers Cove Lodge in Angoon, Alaska. The calm waters around Whalers Cove are 100 miles from any large towns, so you will enjoy a wilderness adventure without any crowds. Whalers Cove Lodge has some of the best salt and freshwater fishing in Alaska, and there is no need for a bumpy boat ride for hours. You can find productive fishing for salmon, halibut, and rockfish just 10 minutes from the lodge. Whalers Cove also offers fantastic freshwater fishing in wilderness streams for wild salmon and trout. The Whalers Cove experience will fulfill your wildest Alaska dreams on the calm water of the Inside Passage or on a spectacular stream. It's your choice every day at the Whalers Cove Lodge. After fishing, you will dine on fabulous meals created daily by the Whalers Cove chefs and relax in your comfortable room or cabin. Learn more about this exciting Alaska destination on their website at whalerscovelodge.com or call 800-423-3123. Whalers Cove Lodge, a real Alaskan fishing adventure.
For local and long-range fishing, the Islander out of Fisherman's Landing is a favorite among seasoned or novice anglers. But Islander Charters is much more than great fishing. They also do incredible Guadalupe white shark diving trips, as well as a schedule of kayak mothership trips. You need to check out the Islander on their website, islander-charters.com. The Islander is San Diego's leader when it comes to 2 to 5 day fishing. Watch the website for trips and adventures available. Experience the Islander difference. Visit islander-charters.com for all the details.
Discover the reliable Yamaha 4-stroke family. This versatile line of outboards is available in a range of horsepower with exciting new additions like the advanced technology next generation F-115 and F-200. Both the F-115 and the Innovation Award-winning Yamaha F-200 are the lightest double overhead cam 4-strokes in their classes. The original F-150 delivers legendary reliability, and the all-new F-175 creates a convenient new horsepower tier. Compact, lightweight Yamaha 4-strokes, perfect for repower and ready for anything. Find them today at your local Yamaha Marine dealer.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090. Phones are absolutely packed up. I know there's lots to talk about, but Frank, one thing I want to mention real fast, and I know that you've been really involved, when you go down to the landings right now, whether it be Point Loma, H&M, Fisherman's Landing, in front of every one of the landings, there's a little survey thing, and it has to do with the parking. And I know there's nobody more involved in the parking situation than yourself. Maybe you could give us a rundown of what that's all about and why it's a good thing to be involved.
I absolutely beg the anglers to please fill one of those out. We have really had serious problems with the Port of San Diego. They did a big revamp of Harbor Drive. Mm-hmm. And we ended up with approximately 20 more spaces than we had before. And they increased it immensely. And they're making it 24 or 2-hour parking, most of it for the restaurants.
Which is crazy.
Which is absolutely insane, because sport fishing was there, number one, long before the restaurants were. Number two, it brings in a tremendous amount of income to the restaurants and to the Port of San Diego. And it's such an inconvenience that people are starting to steer away from San Diego. And we're heating up here in the next year, actually the next 6-8 months, where I think there's going to be a heck of a battle. And we need to educate the port commissioners and the mayor of San Diego, who can also have an influence on this, about the parking problems that we have. And there is no reason it shouldn't be solved.
I'll tell you, the reason why that 2-hour thing was such a bum deal was when they finished the revamp project, it was just all open. And all of a sudden,
for a month.
Yeah, for a 1-month window, it was, hey, this is great. Look at what a great job they did.
A lot of our parking problems disappeared.
They did. They absolutely
now
did.
2/3 of that parking is 2-hour parking.
Which it just makes, I'm sorry, that makes no sense. Not little, that makes no sense.
It's absolutely ludicrous is what it is. And so if you have any kind of a parking problem when you come to San Diego, if you ever have, and I know there's been fights in the parking lot over spaces, and there's been yelling and screaming and everything else, and people parking up in the neighborhoods, you need to fill out one of those little surveys. It will help us. It's not, and I'm going to be on here asking for more help later on. So eventually we're going to have to do a letter writing campaign also.
But in front of every one of the landings, you're going to see a little sign and a little table and some pens and some papers. And I can assure you it's going to take you less than 2 minutes.
That's right.
A couple of questions, fill it out, and it's going to help all of us.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's something that it means a lot to all of us, and I'm sure everybody that's out there fishing. Well, hey, let's jump back into the phones. They are definitely packed up. Jerry in Garden Grove, you're up next on Let's Talk Hookup. Hi, Jerry.
Good morning, Kathy, Frank, and Ricky. Hey, I have a couple questions. On your RP knot, Frank, how many reps each way you go up and back?
I do 6 reps is all I do, unless I'm fishing freshwater bass and I'm using 10-pound or 15-pound. Then I'll do 8 reps, maybe even I've gone as many as 10 reps. But on 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 6 reps is more than enough.
I do the same in the tackle store. How about you, Kathy?
Do you do a half hitch on either side or just leave it plain?
I'm sorry, say again?
A half hitch on either end to complete it?
That's, my spouse here, that's what she always does, is she does a half hitch.
I do a three-turn uni on the end of the Spectra side, not the mono side, the Spectra side.
So there you go. I do not, and I haven't had any problem with it. But, if you want to be really smart and safe, you do what Kathy does.
You're learning, Frank. You're learning. Hey, Ricky, has Doug talked about a date yet for tackle days yet?
We have, yeah. Tackle days this year, and we'll obviously get more and more, but as far as planning goes, is going to be November the 7th, which will be a Saturday in November, coming right up. So as things get more firmed and we start going, we will, Jerry, but it's going to be a really fun day for tackle days. One of my gigs is setting up the seminar speakers, and I take a lot of pride in it, and it's when I call in a lot of favors to all my buddies, and I can tell you that this is already shaping up to be the very best one, at least on that side. Doug is the one that takes charge of all the sales, and he's the best guy for it as far as stuff and putting the vendors, and really the real important part of tackle days. But the fun of that day is all in seminars, and if you haven't been to tackle days, we basically have a stage in the parking lot, and then there's 4 different sport boats that are always there tied up, and we have seminars that range from fishing ghost shrimp on the beach to catching corvina, to long-range fishing, to private boat fishing. And we've had times when Sean has done, this is how you fillet a tuna and just all kinds of different things. 100% free day, rad tackle sales, a huge raffle that the money goes to Friends of Rollo. It's a really, really fun day, but I take pride in putting the seminar speakers together.
Rick, I don't know if that was such a smart move.
You don't think so?
Well, the fishing's still going to be fantastic. Now, what would you rather do? Go to tackle days or go fishing?
Well, let me tell you one thing. You're right about that. And here's what you guys nobody would guess. Last year we were sweating it so much because. Right. 4 of our stages are the back of sport fishing boats. We usually do a seminar in the back of the Queen, in the back of the Prowler, and the Pegasus, and
the Queen was gone.
That's the thing. Let me tell you, man. It's we were crossing our fingers. Obviously, we want the good fishing because we're fishermen and we all love it. But our stages were all driving away going fishing, so we pushed it back another week this year. But yeah, who knows what's going to happen? But
that's right.
Trust me, we would love to have that problem. We're fishermen. We'll make it work. That's one thing that we always joke about in the tackle store. It's like we're a bunch of fishermen. We don't need anything fancy. So, well, Jerry, yeah, we'll certainly keep you in touch as it comes closer. But the 7th of November is when the tackle days will be.
All right. Thank you, Frank. Thanks for what you do for the industry.
You're very welcome, and it's my pleasure. I love it.
Appreciate the call very much. Cliff in Santa Barbara, you're up next with Frank and Kathy. How you doing, Cliff?
Fine. How you doing?
Great. Good morning.
Good morning. I have a question for if you're going to fish wahoo with the surface iron, do you need to use wire leader in there, and do you use treble hook or switch it out to a saw wash hook?
What do you think?
Go ahead.
I definitely would go with the Siwash, and not a Siwash, but a single hook for sure.
Single hook, okay.
Yes, and fishing the surface iron. God, if you could only find an old piece of Manel wire, but I would sure. First of all, I very rarely will use wire on any wahoo jig. And I lose some, that's for sure. But, you can get very good action using wire with a surface iron. So I think you're probably smart on the surface iron to have a 3-foot piece of wire. You still get good action on that surface iron. Do you agree with that, Rick?
I do. This would be a surprise. I like to stay with the treble hook. And my thought is that the jig tends to swim better with that treble hook.
Does.
I don't know if it's the drag or the keel or what. And you're definitely right that a single hook catches them better. There's no question. But for me, it's been one of those things that you said it best. You just don't hook them very well on the surface iron, period, no matter what you're doing. And it seems like the ones you get, you were probably going to get him whether he had a treble or a single. He ate it right. So I would say I do the same, but I like this. But that's just
you gotta keep it in mind that when you're doing the surface iron, you're doing it for fun.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, you're not doing it to definitely. I need a wahoo. I need to catch a wahoo. If you need to catch a wahoo, you don't want to go to the surface iron. Use a casting bomb, a Raider, a 6X Junior, something like that, a Taddy, but do not, in other words, the surface iron is, hey, it's kind of like throwing a popper.
There you
I
go.
want to have
Great
some
example.
fun here.
Yeah.
Okay?
The probably the highest percentage of getting a bite to putting a fish on the boat will be a wired up bomb. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
And if they're aggressive and biting and you're wanting to put meat on the boat, that's the...
Right. However, there are times that the bomb doesn't work as well as the iron.
Sure. When does one make that decision, would you say?
I would say... the bomb is not as effective when there's been boats there trafficking the area, okay? You've got to have fish that have been left alone for 2 or 3 days or even a week. Mm-hmm. Like, if you were to come into Hurricane Bank and there's been nobody there for 5 days, I would be using a casting bomb. If there was a boat there the day before, I would be using iron.
That's great.
But also keep your eyes open. Watch what other people are catching them on. Sure. You might start with the bomb and everybody's getting them with the jig, or you might start with the jig and everybody's getting them with the bomb. And if they're getting them on the bomb, you might as well throw a bomb because you're not going to lose as many jigs.
Kathy, you talked about how a lot of times when they grab that jig, they kind of dog bone it. They bite it in the center. And that's the beauty of the bomb is, the hook is inside of the skirt, basically, with the little trailing spinner in the back. So when they dog that bone in the center, they're biting right down on the hook. There's nothing to slide through, and so you've got a nice big hook usually on a piece of heavy wire, and they're biting down on the wrong end for them.
Yep. Yeah, there's no doubt you're going to land more fish on.
Do you use a short rod or a long rod?
Well, I would say you want a medium-length rod. You don't want a short rod. You want a medium-length rod that you can still cast, but you don't want something with a soft tip. You want something with a fairly stiff, sturdy tip.
And pretty darn fast tapered, meaning that it gets into that backbone nice and fast. Hey, Cliff, appreciate the phone call very much. Thanks a lot for that. How about next up we talk to Brian. He's calling us from Lakeside this morning. Hi, Brian. Welcome to the show.
How you doing, Frank and Kathy?
Great.
Brian.
Rick. This is Brian. Last time I fished with you guys was on the Davis trip a couple of years ago.
Hi, Brian.
How you doing?
Good.
Great.
Good to hear from you.
Basically, I don't have a question. I have just a quick comment. I've known both of you for a long time, and I fished most of the boats, and what a joy it is to fish on the Royal Polaris. The industry's changing rapidly, and the fishing's so close to San Diego right now. I know everybody's fishing here. But I want to stress the point that, the long trips that a lot of guys dream of going on and don't go, guys and girls, how much of a vacation those trips are. That's not just about getting on the boat, putting fish on the boat, getting home with all your fish. It's, I have people tell me, gosh, how do you spend 4 days travel down? And, I relish those travel days and, more than others sometimes. But, a lot of people don't realize what an actual vacation you guys put on, that it's time to get away and what we need to do to get away. Most of us that, kill ourselves to make money so we can go on those trips. The other big thing I want to talk about too is that, I took my daughter, who's now 20, on the Shogun about 4 years ago for her first trip, and she caught her first yellowtail and her first yellowfin. Aaron got them both, and I think that we need to stress to the industry that you got to take your kids fishing. You just have to take your kids fishing on these boats so that they get fit. If you take them fishing, they're going to go. They're going to keep going, and that's what the industry relies on, is making sure, a lot of the long trips, there's a lot of older people, and we got to really fill those boats with younger people so that we can keep doing what we like to do.
You're absolutely right, Brian.
Most importantly, I really want people to understand that wahoo fishing that you did at Benito's the other day. I was checking the reports, and I started clicking through the boats to see who was there, and I saw the reports. And I've been on a few decent wahoo bites at Clarion and at Hurricane that we put a lot of wahoo on the boat, but they didn't weigh 50, 60 pounds.
That's
a good point.
That wasn't, that average size fish down there is 30 to 40 maybe, and I can't even imagine a bite like that.
Oh, it was just amazing to watch them come over the deck one after another.
It was so cool.
You watch the crew member have to lift and then try to hold him on the rail so Daryl could get a picture. It was it was quite the lovely sight as I was on the bait tank, Brian.
It's exciting.
Brian, just so you know, or so our listeners know, in that end about taking kids fishing, the Dolphin, it's just a half-day boat. And Jason does a fabulous job, a very, very clean operation. Every Sunday is kids fish free. So there's no reason not to take your son or your daughter. So keep that in mind.
And that's all the time. That's prime time, middle of August.
During the summer, it's on Thursdays.
Okay.
That's right, on Thursdays. But now that the kids are back to school, we switched it to Sundays.
That's awesome. Brian, appreciate the phone call very much. Very kind words.
Hope you're going fishing soon, Brian.
Kathy, keep it up. And I'm going to try to go on Brandon's trip, so I'll be calling.
Can't wait to fish with you again.
Thanks, Brian. I want to add one thing to that. He talked about vacation and all those other things. There's one thing that I think gets often overlooked by price tag, and that's what a good value it is to go long-range fishing. If you tried to compare that to any other type of fishing trip ever, when you start factoring in airfare and travel and the food that you get, and
the food's phenomenal.
The experience level that you get with every person that's on the crew, from the newest guy to to Big D that's been on the boat, and Roy, and And that's that way on every single long-range boat that you go on. When you start factoring in what you're getting for your dollar, I don't think there is a value that's close to long-range. You know, go to Hawaii and fish for a day and tell me what you catch and the price that you pay. You know,
and you don't get to keep your fish.
That's
in
what
Hawaii.
I'm saying.
Yeah,
go to Disneyland for 2 days.
There you go, exactly. the accommodations and everything. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
And if you haven't done it, I urge you to try it so much. It's fishing on a true long-range boat, there's nothing else like it.
And it's like Brian said, there's a lot more to it than just catching fish and
Absolutely.
coming home with fish. It's the whole interaction with the other people you meet. It's being on the water. You see things on the water that National Geographic will never capture on film. You know, you just get to see phenomenal things, and you come home and you just had the whole package. You know, you got to relax, you got to get away from the phones, and you got to fish. You know, it's just, you got to meet other people that hopefully you see again. You'll see them at the fishing show and go, hey, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like old home week at the fishing show. You know, it's just there's a lot more than just catching fish.
Totally agree. It's awesome. Got me fired up wanting to go now. Mike in Torrance, you're up next with Frank and Kathy. How you doing, Mike?
Good morning, Kathy. Good morning, Frank and Rick. How you guys doing?
Doing
great.
Good. Hey, first of all, Rick, thank you so much for Let's Talk Hookup. You and Pete and Marty have done such a wonderful job since it started. I've been enjoying it. I can't believe how fortunate we are to get to touch the sport fishing every weekend through you guys. It's wonderful.
That's very kind words, Mike. Trust me, I feel very fortunate to get to do it. So the pleasure is certainly mine. I can assure you that. That's very nice of you to say. Thank you.
Oh, it's so cool. It's all I wanted to do since I got my driver's license in 77 is come down and fish. Hey, I drove down to San Diego in August to jump on Mike Pritchard's boat, the Tribute, and he drove me all the way back up here to Catalina, behind Catalina, and people were catching bluefin. There were 40, 50 boats out there just all on the drip between Clemente and Catalina, and I couldn't get one, so I stopped and dropped my gear down and watched what the captain was fishing. And I dropped down a 40-pound. We were using balloons to tie the weights on and fishing down about 150 feet. And everybody's catching bluefin, and I caught a 31.5-pound albacore.
No kidding.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
I was pretty shocked on that one. I said, look, it's a yellowfin. They said, no, it's an albacore. Look at his fin.
Yep, I heard all about that.
That's
was
cool.
pretty cool.
So I canned that fish, and I got about 18 pints out of it, and it's been so wonderful. I canned it the next day, and it's been such a joy to share that with people and enjoy it. And then I caught a couple of 40 to 45-pound bluefin, and I was done and happy, and what a great boat that was. So I just wanted to share that with you guys.
That's a great story,
Mike.
Mike.
Have a great weekend.
And Mike Pritchard does run an excellent operation. It's hard to get on his boat because he is full just about all the time. But it's limited, I believe, to 32 people. And but it's a great operation out of C4 Sport Fishing.
Yeah. And what a cool job he's done with that Tribute. You know, Mike's a hard-working guy, and, you know, it's been fun following all along with the Facebook page. They show all the process of taking that boat in the shape that it was when he got it, which wasn't bad, but he
wasn't
put
great.
the
And
the work that
but
those
the other
guys
thing
did.
you got to compliment him for is having a skipper that when he is off does every bit as good a job as Mike, and that's Jake.
Yeah,
Jake
no
is
doubt.
just one great fisherman.
That's a good team to have. Sure is
That's
nice
right.
to know that no matter whenever you step on that boat, you've got two just awesome
That's correct.
operators on there. Hey, I'm glad you had such a great trip, Mike. Thanks again for the phone call. Another Mike in Allied Gardens. You're up next on Let's Talk Hookup. Mike, thanks for joining us.
Man, what a great show. It's like a fishing seminar on one. Hey, the question I have is about a day and a half or a 2-day trip. You mentioned something about that, and I wonder if you could talk about that, local fishing.
Well, day and a half to 2-day trips. Obviously, the advantage of a day and a half trip is the fact that you get to fish till dark. Okay, so you're fishing from generally, depending on how far you have to travel, from daybreak to dark. If I had my choice between a day and a half trip and a 2-day trip, I would definitely take the day and a half trip. And the reason for that is there's just not too much you can do and still get back to the dock. Now, if it was a 2.5-day trip, then I would take the 2.5-day trip over the day and a half trip because you're going to get 2 full days of fishing. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
I appreciate the phone call very much. Hey, I want to remind you, this portion of the show is sponsored part by Gamakatsu Hooks, Japan's leading fish hook that sets the standard for quality and innovation, strength, and durability. It's the summer season, it's going into the fall season, and that's when that Gamakatsu Nautilus circle hook and those great ring hooks in their both standard and circle hook options are the angler's first choice for fishing with tuna and other summertime and fall-time pelagic species. It's the right design and durability to help you catch your fish of a lifetime. You can get that Gamakatsu Super Nautilus hooks at your favorite tackle store. Jumping right back into the phones, Mo in Vista. You're up next on Let's Talk Hookup. Hi, Mo.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Hey, Frank. When we're fishing the Mexican water, do we have to fill out a declaration every time we come back in with, the tuna or the dorado or anything?
When you talking on your private boat or when you're going on
a private boat?
On a private boat, I'm not going to answer this correctly for you, Mo, because I'm not sure either, and I don't want to give you the wrong information.
Okay.
What I will tell you is I know that it's important to fill out a Mexican declaration if you're going to be bringing fish back that have differing limits from something that we could have in the U.S., mainly rockfish. You know, if you're going to be taking rockfish back on your private boat during a rockfish closure here, I know that it's important. I don't believe that you need to do it for tuna. You know, if you just go catch your 5 tuna and bring them back because you're still within U.S. limits. But I'm not, as much as I hate to say that's not the official answer because I frankly don't know.
And neither do I.
But I would say that I know that it's important to do when your limits differ from the states. And all I can do is try and get you a more clear answer. Maybe we'll put it on our Facebook, or if we get a better answer before the end of the show. So I know that the majority of people are not doing that. Doesn't mean that it's right or wrong, but you don't necessarily need to do it. As you probably heard the phone ding out there, Steve Crook, who's a good guy that always takes care of us, retired DFG biologist and always up there, he says that technically you do need to do it on private boats as a declaration form when you're bringing fish back, and do not need to do it on a party boat. I can assure you that the majority of people are probably not following that rule and probably not getting hit for it, but if you want to follow to the letter of the law, which is never a bad thing, it's an easy enough thing to do. Print out your declaration form on just about any website and have a stack of them on the boat and just do it on your way back in.
Thank you, Steve Crook.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Always got our back.
I do have that. Yeah, I do have that. I just wondered, do we send that into the fishing game then?
No, I think it's just something that you have when you get
checked.
Exactly.
Right.
If there happens to be a warden at the ramp, it's just a way of showing, hey, I was in Mexico. Here's my Mexican licenses. Here's the paperwork that says I took that fish from there to here.
Okay, sounds great.
Mo, appreciate the phone call very much, buddy. Thanks a lot for that. Doug in Montebello, you're up next on Let's Talk Hookup. Hi, Doug.
With all this warm water coming up, is there a possibility of a 400-pound tuna coming this way? And could it survive up here with the amount of fish they can feed on?
A 400-pound tuna, I'm going to say no. Okay. I'll even say no to a 300-pound tuna. And I'll probably say no to a 200-pound tuna. Those big fish, for some reason, the furthest up I've ever seen them on any year has been Aleos Rocks, Aleos Bank. I have never seen. Now when you talk tuna, I'm talking yellowfin. I'm not talking the bluefin, obviously. But I've never seen the 200-pounders come above Aleos Bank. So that's the answer I can give you to that question. Do I expect to see them? No, I do not.
100-pounder, yellowfin, porpoise school, that type of thing?
100-pounder is possible in a porpoise school for sure.
I mean, we've been close to it this year. You see 70,
80 pounders.
Yeah,
yes.
For sure.
So that I'll agree with. But a 200-pounder, I really.
You better jump on a long trip on the RP.
Yeah, I think you better, or one of the other good boats. So it's definitely not a strong possibility. Okay.
If somebody's goal, Frank, we hear it a lot in the store. My goal, I want to catch a 100-pound tuna. That's a bucket list fish for a lot of people. What is a trip that a guy should book if he really wants a shot at a 100-pounder?
I would say 13 days or longer. Something that is going to either get you down in. First of all, November is usually one of the best months if you're going to catch a 100-pounder on a 10-day trip. Okay, you can catch a 100-pounder on a 10-day trip, but it's usually the best times November and December on a 10-day, or late October, and that'll be down below Mag Bay. And that's been iffy the last few years. Yes. Now this year it might be good again, but if you want a guarantee, if you want the closest thing you can get to a guarantee, it would be a 13 to 16 day trip 18-day trip to Hurricane Bank in Clarion, and that's your best chance. You know, I had a guy once that he fished 5 trips on the RP, all long trips, and never caught a fish over 100 pounds.
Really? On
his 6th trip, he got a 100-pounder, a 200-pounder. In fact, he had 3 over 200 and a 300.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
Sometimes you just got to pay your dues.
Sure. You're not saying that you won't, catch them. I mean, they catch 100-pounders on 10 days for sure, but that's the trophy. That's the fish
right.
that occasionally
you
catch.
Fish.
And on a longer trip that fishes the buffer zone or Hurricane Bank, that's the kind of standard size. And it doesn't mean you're going to get one every time, but that's the everyday fish that you catch down there. All right. Well, that's good info. Hey, let's jump back into them. Kurt, calling from Huntington. You're up next on Let's Talk Hookup. Hi, Kurt.
Hey, how you guys doing? First-time caller. Thanks for taking my call. Frank, I have a question for you. I'm going on the Royal Polaris this Friday on the 5-day. And I don't know if you remember me. I was in your shop about 3 weeks ago or so, and I came in with a list of my gear on a sheet of paper, and you were kind enough to go through it and check it out for me. And
I do remember that, yes.
Yeah, everything checked out okay according to the expert you know.
Yeah.
So, and my question is, I was at the Longfin on their sale, and I asked the guy, well, I'm going on a 5-day. I said, do you think it's a chance for Wahoo? He said, no, you'll catch one by mistake if you do. So all this Wahoo talk here, do you think I should gear up for Wahoo on the 5-day trip at all?
Absolutely. There is, that fishing at Bonitas is backed off. But like I said just earlier in the show, we had, day before yesterday, we had 4 Wahoo 68 miles from Point Loma, so on a kelp patty. So do I think you have a chance for a Wahoo? Yes, absolutely. Do I think that you're going to have Wahoo fishing like we just had on the 7-day? I kind of doubt it. Okay,
that it was the best you've ever had in your lifetime.
That was, yes. So, but do you have a chance? Absolutely. And, it's that kelp patty that, I guess the best thing I can say to you is if you hit a kelp patty and the Dorado aren't biting wide open, then you want to take a Raider jig, a 125 Raider, and you want to drop it down 150 feet and pray you don't get bit off as it's sinking, and whine like heck, and you've got a good chance of getting a Wahoo.
That's good info. And Kathy, you could probably back that up too. It's plenty fair of the guy at a Longfin when this was a long time ago and he's talking about going on his 5-day. It's just not something that you see all the time Wahoo on a 5-day. So you could definitely give the guy a free pass, telling you don't need to. He's probably doing the right thing, not trying to oversell you too much gear. But you know what? I mean, if you're going right now, it's a legit thing. Be ready.
Like I said, American Angler had a nice catch of Wahoo on his 5-day. Yeah. Along with everything else he caught.
Pretty darn cool. Kurt, I hope you have a great time, and maybe shoot us a report when you get back. I hope you get that skinny for you. Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup. We're going to find out who's got a brand new pair of Maui Jim sunglasses. More Let's Talk Hookup coming your way on the mighty 1090.
Fisherman's Landing has been the choice of sport fishing anglers for decades, with the largest fleet of long-range boats worldwide, complemented by Southern California's finest charter and open party fleet. From a half-day trip on the Dolphin to overnight trips or a long-range adventure, you can count on Fisherman's Landing to deliver the best. Check the website for all that is going on or call Fisherman's Landing at 619-221-8500. Book now at fishermanslanding.com.
Have you checked out the giant Fastlane kayaks in Mission Bay yet? It's hard to miss, right in the middle of Dana Landing, across from SeaWorld in Mission Bay. This massive 5,500 square foot location is loaded with Hobie Mirage Drive kayaks and all the accessories. They also have a great selection of Hobie clothing, stand-up paddle boards, paddles, and more. Check out the new model Hobie kayaks arriving daily and see the great deals on previous year's models. Even test a kayak or stand-up paddleboard right out their back door on Mission Bay. When it comes to Hobie kayaks, no one does it better than the crew at Fastlane Kayaks at Dana Landing across from SeaWorld in Mission Bay. Check FastlaneSailing.com.
Here's John Ireland for Rancho Leonero.
The main emphasis on the ranch, we're going to keep it old style. We're not going to change anything. We're just going to improve what we have. The kitchen is brand new kitchen this year with all new kitchen equipment, new stoves, ovens. We put a new freezer in. We've put in all brand new split air conditioners with thermostats to make sure every room is cold. We've also worked on the boat fleet with a couple large lures, a 31 and a 34. We've got the largest Super Ponga fleet on the East Cape, all with brand new Yamaha Motors. Brand new beds. We've got all Serta beds, the best beds in Baja, I kid you not. We're working all the time at the ranch. We're not changing it, just making it a lot better. That's why we get the high TripAdvisor reviews. It's my responsibility. I got to take care of you. I'll personally guarantee your best fishing experience and vacation at Rancho Leonero. RanchoLeonero.com. Our new reservation phone number is 800-646-2252, 646 Baja.
Your hook is one of the most important parts of your fishing tackle, and that is why you should use the hook that sets the standard for quality and innovation. Gamakatsu, as Japan's leading hook manufacturer and growing at an amazing pace, Gamakatsu is responsible for introducing a unique tempering process to give Gamakatsu hooks superior strength and durability. Plus, the conically needle-honed points stay sharp. Gamakatsu offers a hook for every fishing situation, including the finest one-piece ringed hooks, light wire, standard and heavy-duty live bait hooks, and the popular Nautilus circle hooks. Get Gamakatsu hooks at your favorite tackle store and stay connected to that fish of a lifetime.
XEPRS 1090 AM, Rosarito, Baja California.
The best NFL coverage is right here.
Inside the pylon for a touchdown.
San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090. All right, the winner of a brand new pair of Maui Jim longboard sunglasses is going to Mo in Vista. Mo, congratulations. You are going to love those glasses. Kathy, Frank, I can't get over how fast 2 hours goes by sometimes. But, man, I had so much fun. I don't think I've been this pumped up to go fishing after a radio show in a while, man. You got me just dialed. Can't thank you guys enough for taking the time to come hang out with us. I know it's not easy with your schedule, but we really, really appreciate you spending some time and talking fishing with us.
Love talking about our favorite thing.
Awesome. Well, Frank, one more time. I know you said trip opportunity on the Davis trip, a little bit on the Thanksgiving trip, and always spots or two open here or there. Again, if we want to go fishing.
I just remembered there's an 8-day coming up. In fact, I think it's Doc Ski's trip that has 1 or 2 openings on an 8-day trip leaving on the Shogun here real soon.
And talk to any of the girls in the office. They'll get you dialed.
Either that or go
jump
online.
On the website. Yeah. Yep. I mean, the same system that you guys book with out of the office is available to anybody online. You can punch your whole ticket. Right now, you could book a spot on a 15-day on the Davis while you're sitting there. So,
that's right.
Guys, appreciate it so much. If somebody does want to jump on the website, somebody wants to talk to the girls at the office or talk to you in the office when you happen to be on the beach, what's the best way to reach everybody at Royal Polaris?
619-226-8030. If you have a question for me and I'm not there, just ask the girls to leave a note on my desk, and I will call you back.
Awesome. Guys, thank you so much. Kathy, it was awesome. So much
Great
fun
being here.
having
Thank
you
you.
here. Thank you. And, hey, we thank you for listening. We had a great time. My pleasure, guys. Thank you. And we got another couple of great shows coming for you next weekend. Next Saturday, we've got Michael Schweet from the Federation of Fly Fishers. A little different take on the show. Going to be a lot of fun. And then Sunday, we've got the lobster guru, Jim Salazar. He's going to be telling us all about lobster hooping. Lots of great shows coming your way. That's next weekend right here on the Mighty 1090.